How to tell the difference between genuine spiritual emotions and material covered sentiments? That's a good question. And some people couldn't tell the difference. I'll give you an example of some people that couldn't tell the difference. We've seen people in Krishna consciousness who appear to be strong, appear to be enthusiastic, and then, as they say, one fine day, un bello dia, one fine day, they leave. And it's just like, wow, how this person really seemed to be Krishna conscious, or at least enthusiastic, did a lot of service, and they just left. And perhaps the most startling thing is they left with no regrets. Like, I've had it, I don't want any of this. What's going on there? In fact, the person asked this question just told me a case in the country she lives in about someone who was so-called big devotee and then just flipped and became the opposite, enemy of the movement. It's because some people don't have the ability to distinguish genuine spiritual emotion. So, for example, I've said this many times, but ISKCON as a spiritual society, or just as a society, like any society, rewards certain behavior and punishes certain behavior. For example, if you, let's say, do a lot of service. Oh, whoops. Sorry. If you do a lot of service, and naturally the devotees praise you, they're grateful, and they want to encourage other people to do that service. They say, yeah, this is a good devotee. This lady or this man is really doing nice service. And so every society holds up role models, and every society encourages service to the society, devotion, dedication, by rewarding in various ways, by titles, by, I don't know, first in line for Mahaprasadam. You know, maybe you get special privileges, like you get to give class, or all kinds of things. And every society is forced to stigmatize or criticize or discourage, really, the key word is discourage, behavior that's just dangerous to or unfavorable to the society. Like, let's say, for example, someone is a devotee in good standing, or even maybe a leader, and they do something really bad, like, let's say, sexual abuse, which I don't think happens very often, but it can happen. Let's say sexual abuse, or stealing money, or whatever, or just all kinds of things. Not following the principles. So if the society does not sort of stigmatize in some way that behavior, then the society sends the message that, well, that's all right. You can do that and nothing bad happens to you. So if you're a devotee in good standing in ISKCON, or even a leader, you can do weird things and nothing will happen to you. For example, a lot of people, if they knew that you can go into a bank and rob it, and you won't be punished for that, the police won't come, you won't go to jail, guess what happens next? So, but because every society, in order to reinforce its positive values and also reinforce its prohibitions, or to really clearly communicate, powerfully communicate that certain behaviors are not good or not acceptable, every society rewards and punishes different kinds of behavior. Here's the problem. People who, let's say, have strong material desires, they want the rewards and they want to avoid the punishments or the stigma, or just, you know, some unclean substance hitting the fan. So therefore, there are people, and we've all seen this, there are so-called devotees who are attached to the rewards. Some people will actually stay for years in a spiritual movement or religion, say ISKCON or some other religion, because they're feeding off the rewards. That's their fuel. that's where they're, because I like being here, because people respect me and I have a position, and they're not really getting a taste. They're not, we assume, oh, this person is here because he or she is Krishna conscious or is attached to Krishna or is a devotee, when in fact the person is just in a sort of a comfort zone. Staying in ISKCON is a path of least resistance. I get rewards here that I wouldn't have outside. We see sometimes devotees with high positions, they go out into the material world and they end up driving, let's say in occupations which are not considered very high class, which means they were kind of ISKCON overachievers. So, but then at a certain point, a person may decide, I don't need those rewards anymore, or I have rewards available somewhere else, or it's just not worth it, or I don't care about those rewards. And then suddenly they just disappear. Why? Because their attachment was not to Krishna. It was not to Prabhupada. It was to their situation and the stuff they were getting, materially or psychologically. If you've been in ISKCON for a while and you have some position, and let's say you're not completely incompetent, you may get a car and a place to live, and you get food, and life is easy. Like, I don't want to get a real job. And it's just being in the Hare Krishna movement is the path of least resistance. And a person may not even admit that to themselves. It's not that, some people probably are calculating and scheming, but a lot of these people, they actually believe that I'm really a good devotee. And in other words, it's for social psychology. Everyone around me respects me or treats me like I'm a senior, respectable or important person. Sure, I'll go with that. I'm just going to totally buy into that description of myself. And so getting back to Kamalakshi's question, how to tell the difference between genuine spiritual emotions and material covered sentiments? Well, one answer, and it's not the only answer, but one answer is, if you are facing difficulties and everyone doesn't admire and respect you, and you're not getting material rewards, and life is hard, but you remain a devotee, you stay with Krishna, that means that it's very likely you're a real devotee. And also, I should add, we have to have a certain minimum amount of honesty with ourselves. Like maybe, okay, I don't want to be humiliated, so if I have some problem, I'm not going to go talking about to other people, because people may say, no, you can reveal your mind to me. But I mean, there are some people we can reveal our minds to, but it's not always a big number. And it's not always everyone that claims to be our friend. So anyway, I think just staying with Krishna, being honest about, if we're honest about our own problems, honest about our doubts, about our weaknesses, about our bad habits, we're honest about that, but we are sincerely trying to be Krishna conscious. And that desire to be Krishna conscious is not a desire to have some position in ISKCON. It's not a desire that everyone like me. It's really just a desire to love Krishna. That I know that that's who I really am. I really am a lover of Krishna. And I really want to serve Krishna. I'm not completely there now. Life is difficult. It's Kali Yuga. But that's what I really, in the deepest part of my heart, that's what I really want. And so despite all the troubles, I keep trying. That's what the Bhagavatam says, actually. Tatenu kampantu samikshamano. Despite all the troubles of this world, and troubles which ultimately we brought on ourselves. Atma kritang vipakam. That's what the Bhagavatam says. Troubles that we brought on ourselves. If despite all this, I keep bowing down to Krishna, I keep, as the Christians would say, witnessing, I keep declaring to myself and to anyone who wants to know that Krishna really is everything for me. And Hridvag Vapur Bir. So in my heart, with my words, And I even physically bowed down to Krishna and said, Mukti Pade Sadayava. So a person who, despite a lot of trouble in this world by my previous activities, but if I keep trying to surrender, then the Bhagavatam says, you have a right to liberation. It has become your inheritance, your rightful legal inheritance. So that's what I would say in answer to that question.